Hi,
Hi, Andrei. Nice to have you here. Thank you for talking to me.
thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So, I really wanted to talk to you because we're putting together the shortlist of all the nominations that the fans have voted for the Vertical Drama Love Awards. Totally independent, totally created by the fans. It's everything that they've said they wanted. And My Secret Agent Husband has been a massive, massive success and is the show project that has the most nominations across everything. So I thought I'd better talk to the star on the show, which is you. So I really wanted to ask you, as you made it, did you know you're onto a good thing?
Well, first of all, that's just so amazing. Like when you told me that Secret Asian Husband has the most nominations across the board, I was just so happy because it truly took a village and it was so hard. It was a miracle it even got made, even let alone into a season two. But to answer your question, when we were making it, I honestly did not expect this response because at the time of shooting it, it was at the time of shooting season one, it was probably my 12th vertical within the span of a year. Within the span of 6 months, really. I started doing them December of 2023, and we shot season one, I think in April of 2024. At that point, I was honestly really burnt out doing them back to back, and they all kind of like melded into the same thing in my head. So I had no idea, but I mean, I did remember when we were shooting it that the content was there was something different there where I feel like vertical dramas, they're kind of in the infancy of their industry. So there aren't that many dramas and verticals or shows that kind of break the stereotypical conventions of the format. And Secret Agent Husband didn't have the werewolf CEO for forced marriage aspect that a lot of verticals have. And that was interesting. I mean, we were doing a lot of I think I explicitly remember there's a scene in season one that has kind of a corn dog gag, which is kind of a joke about giving head. I remember filming it. I was like, this really doesn't feel like the typical vertical.
There's also a lot of great physical comedy as well. There's a lot of love for the scene where Lucas attempts to cook.
Yes. Oh, that was actually on the first day of shooting, and I remember doing it, and a lot of the physical comedy you see in Secret Agent Husband wasn't written into the script. I just wanted to make a moment. And I remember telling Dee Dee, the director, I was like, we have to, like, you need a shot of me grabbing the paper towel and accidentally it goes everywhere. And you need a shot of me like and he was like, okay, just whatever you do, I'll record it. And because I think all he really wanted was for me to go to the fridge and take the eggs out and they fall, but it ended up the eggs fell, and then I tried to grab a paper towel to fix it, but it unrolled, and in doing so I slipped and I hit my knee on the counter, and then I swore to myself and bounced up and down. So that was kind of like how it started, where it was like, okay, we can just kind of have fun and make something that isn't already written. It was a lot of like freedom in that.
I love that. That's always seems to be some of the best lines that I've told people I've loved in verticals. They then tell me that that's been improvised in the moment. So yeah, I love that you totally did that scene. Um, so there's a lot of love, obviously, for all the relationships. My secret agent husband, both between Lucas and his dad, and obviously Lucas and his secret agent husband. How did you find kind of working with those actors and building those relationships?
Working with Michael, who plays Wyatt, was a surprise and a really pleasant one at that because he didn't come in. I didn't meet him until we were at the read-through, which was really rare because I was actually called in for a chemistry callback for the role, and I was supposed to be reading with the guy who was supposed to be playing Wyatt, and he just ended up not showing up. So my entire callback was just me and the creative team. I was just sitting in a chair in an empty dance studio out in the valley doing the scene where Lucas wakes up to Wyatt on top of him, scanning him, and he's like, "What are you trying to do to me in my sleep?" But we were supposed to do that with the guy who was playing Wyatt, and he never showed up. So I don't know who they were gonna cast when I got the role, because I think when I booked it, they were like, "We don't know yet." And then Michael, they ended up landing with Michael, and we were at the read through, and I think I came in late because I was flying in from another project out of state. So I was rushing right from the airport. It smelled like trash. I smelled like airplane. I went right to the read through. And I didn't have time to say hi to anybody. We just had to get the ball rolling. So I didn't even say hi to him until after we had already read through the entire script of season one. And at that point, I felt like I already knew him because I was like, we found the chemistry and the tempo between us so fast. It was like, and as soon as we had that scene where I grab Wyatt and take him into the closet in the crypto link.
Yeah,
As soon as we had that scene and we read together for the first time, it was like, okay, wait, this is so easy.
that's so good. And does that happen all the time? Is it
Never.
kind of magic when it does then?
It's magic. It's so rare. It's so rare. It never happens. Like usually, I mean, to be honest, the roles I've been giving in the vertical space have usually been the quiet, timid, supporting character because that's kind of the convention I have as a 5'8", 140 pounds wet person. That's what verticals have to offer. So I'm rarely even given the chance to have any type of chemistry with anybody. So it's rare for me as like an actor, but I think it's also just rare in the vertical space in general to find two people that like have a really clear relationship because we just don't have the time to cultivate it. I mean, like I said, Michael and I really did no work to make that. It was just it was either going to work or it wasn't. Like the first time we acted together was when we were reading the script at the read through.
Oh, that's amazing. I also want to ask about the relationship with Sean, who's Albert Walton, because I that's one of my favourite parts in it because when you've watched a lot of verticals, you expect the father's reaction to go a certain way and it doesn't. And I think that's my favourite thing.
Hmm. Yeah, Sean, he, I think in shooting with him, I looked up to him a lot because he has been working for so long, and I really respected his commitment. He's such a committed actor, and I mean, Lucas's dad is a very temperamental person, and I think there was a lot of opportunities for that to come across as like not connected to his son, but Sean was always able to ground it and reconnect to I always felt loved as Lucas. Like when he was angry, it felt like it was coming from a place of care, and especially on season two, I was kind of in a space in my life where I was, I think, second guessing a lot of things and maybe not feeling very confident. And I remember there was a day where we had a lot of our scenes together. It was just us on set, and whenever we wrapped, we were just talking. And he is a very, very kind, very wise person. And I think having that relationship off camera where I felt like he was like a parent figure almost, that like it only added to the relationship on camera.
That
Yeah,
makes sense. And I think that's what came across for me of like even when in season one who's in prison, there's like a concern for Lucas.
yeah.
Um and yeah, that makes sense. It's from the actor. So I kind of have to ask, because obviously the awards are about My Secret Agent Husband,
Hmm.
but My Secret Agent Husband 2 has come out, which has been a massive hit. And I
Yes.
think in my review I said they just you just like upped everything, and I think it's even better,
Hmm.
which is quite an achievement given how good the first one is.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask, like, how did that come about? When did you know it was a go? How hard was it getting all the cast together again?
Hmm. I think let me just get my timelines right here. We shot season one in April. It came out in June. Initially didn't do well. Really only got traction in July. And then I think it was somewhere around October where the conversation around season two started happening, where a lot of the fans were talking about how they wanted a season two. And Michael hadn't done many verticals at that point, so I don't think he had too much to compare it to, but I kept telling him that I had never been noticed for any vertical I did prior to this. This is not a common thing where you have people following you online or I had people stopping me at the in the street. Like it's really strange because typically verticals have like a predominantly overseas following, but I think because it's gay and because it resonated as like almost like a cult meme online, I think the first time I got recognized, I was at my gym and I was in a towel and nothing else. And I had a full grown man come up to me telling me he liked it and how he and his husband watch it. And I was like, "Dude, that's
That's such a good
crazy."
vertical meet, though, with the towel. I mean, that's perfect. You couldn't write that better.
Exactly. Yeah, it felt so fitting. But so that we were on top of it because like we were thinking something was going to happen because we were getting a lot of fans saying they wanted a season two. So I met with the director and writer because just to catch up and see how things have been, Didi, and he said that he was writing a second script and we were kind of talking about what it was going to look like. And when we met up for a coffee to talk about it, the script he had in mind was so different from where it ended up. Because,
Really?
yes, which was so cool because I actually felt really, really heard by Dee Dee because some of the things I expressed as like what I think the fans would want to see and what I would personally like to see for season two, I think he really took it on board and it felt like season one was a job, not in a bad way, just like it was a job. And season two felt like a collaboration where everyone brought something more than they did season one. And um, I remember we had more time to prep for it. We had like 3 days ahead of shooting to do a lot of the choreography and the combat that Wyatt had to do. And we had a full read through and costume fittings and it felt like it was really cool to see Vertical step into a space that were taken more seriously and legitimate, and it only speaks to the, I think, potential of what the format has. That,
I think one of the things why it's been so popular is I felt like there were a lot of Easter eggs for the fans. Just the fact that you've got so many of the cast together. I'm slightly obsessed with Jason. I was quite
oh,
shipping that romance. It's like they can get together, even though it's pulled away. And even just the fact it all ends up back again with the the explosives. I think that's partly why it's been so good. And obviously the iconic, the Lucas imagining the different costumes. I think a lot of people love that a lot.
that was my
Which I,
favorite thing I've ever
I
shot in any Vertical ever.
I particularly enjoyed because I came to verticals from Chinese and Korean dramas. So
Mhm.
to see the Chinese fantasy or period costume in a vertical made me really, really happy. So
Oh, yeah,
yeah, I loved that. It was brilliant. I also think, yeah, you need to do the film noir with you and Wyatt.
I would love that.
That needs
Michael
to
and I would
happen.
both, if there's any people writing verticals or horizontals and they want to do that storyline, Michael and I are on board.
That
It
needs to
was
happen.
so much fun. And a fun fact is the first thing we shot in season two was the ancient Chinese sequence, and the very last thing we shot was the 1950s sequence.
Oh wow. So you
Yeah,
bookended it with those.
exactly.
Oh well, thank you for those because they made a lot of people very happy.
Thank you.
Obviously I should ask, like, do you know if there will be a season three? Obviously,
I really don't know. I mean I didn't know if there was going to be a season two, so that really doesn't mean much, I guess, at this point. But I think season two would work as an ending for my secret agent husband. But the beautiful thing about this little mini universe we've created is that it kind of defies like the boundaries
mm.
of reality in its camp nature that I think it could always get picked up again.
I
And
think the other thing I just wanted to say actually with it is just the the last few episodes of season two are so powerful and so emotional. I know a lot of people cried, properly cried. Um, and I know that if it had been eligible, the Don't Pull a Romeo line is basically already probably the most iconic line in verticals. So I just wanted to say thank you for that because yeah, it's an amazing achievement that you've got all that comedy, but then at the same time, absolutely broke a lot of people's hearts.
I'm really happy that that resonated with you and the fans because I mean, the credit Didi, he wrote it and obviously Michael for his delivery. But it does Michael and I met up recently to react and watch season two for the first time and when we watched it all in one sitting, it was really exhausting because it takes you so many places more than I honestly expected even while we were filming it. And filming it was like very emotionally laborious, but watching it as a viewer, I was like, wow, I feel like I laughed, I cried, I was hooked, and the ending was much deeper than someone would have expected from where the sh show started. Um,
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that, honestly. We were able to do so much in 90 minutes.
I think that's partly why, because if you look at where verticals have come from, and often there is this sort of one dimensional aspect to them. And then you look at that, and it's like it's such a real problem because no one's right and no one's wrong.
Yeah.
because Lucas is quite right to be like, I need you to spend time with me, but Wyatt's also like, I'm trying to do my job. And I think that's why it's so good. There's all this depth and layers that obviously sort of certain verticals don't have. So just yeah, congratulations again on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there was a lot of tension. And I mean, even when we were filming it, Michael and I were having our own debates about who is right. Because I think we were filming the scene where Michael and Lucas are first seen together in season two, where Michael lands, Agent Wyatt lands at Lucas' apartment, and they have a little spat where we get to see like how they're struggling to plan a wedding because Wyatt's never home. And in between takes, we were like, well, I kept telling Michael, I was like, no, Lucas is right. I'm not saying that just because I'm Lucas, but I'm being like Lucas is being neglected as a partner. If my fiance, or I guess actually husband, if my husband ever treated me this way, I would put my foot down and scream. And then, I mean, Michael raised points too of like it's his job, and like he knew that this is what Lucas knew that this was Wyatt's job when they signed up for this. So it resonates because it's very real. It's like in a weird way very relatable, like emotional relationship dynamics. So it was fun to have that tension.
So looking to the future, I think it would be fair to say you have become possibly a bit of a, I guess, like a central figure for the LGBTQ plus audience in verticals. How are you happy with that? Is that something you're happy to be? What do you hope will happen in the Western vertical industry with those sort of stories? Any thoughts?
I think I don't, I mean, I'm really flattered that you say that. I don't see myself that way, but I mean, I think having any platform in the queer space is a privilege, especially with everything going on right now. And I think the fact that we were able to make something for our community is a win with, Hollywood and just gay representation is so minimal to what I think it could be. And I think I had been on a few projects since then that were queer for verticals, and oftentimes the only difference that a queer script in a vertical format has from like maybe a heteronormative script is that they change my character's pronouns from she to he.
Yeah.
Feel like there's more nuance than that, where it's not just that I'm the female. And
Yeah.
obviously, because it's a comedy, we make jokes in that nature in Secret Agent
Mm,
Husband, but it's self-aware and there's more depth there.
yeah.
Whereas I think some of the writing, there's things to learn, even in the straight world, from the writing of Secret Agent Husband, because there's more nuance than just she's a girl, so she's chained to the bed by her boyfriend, or he's a guy, so and we're attracted to the fact that he's so masculine and rigid. And I know that they played those conventions for the drama, but I'm really excited to see what people learn from this, from the success of a show like this. And I'm excited to see more gray areas because I think that's where it's interesting and more real.
Yeah. And
Um,
from everything I can see, quality and writing is developing so fast. I think people will do that, and particularly when they see the blockbuster that my secret agent husband is with the fans, the amount of nominations. So, just final question. Thank you so much for your time. Have you got any upcoming projects, things that you're excited about, you'd like to share with us?
I do, but I'm not allowed to talk about them, sadly. Nothing
Okay,
yet.
but
Uh,
there will be more projects.
there will be more projects, yes, and I'm also currently looking for. I'm also taking more projects. I'm not super busy right now.
You're available, is what you're saying.
I am. I just moved into a new apartment, so I think I blocked out a few months to get that done, and then now I'm like, oh, actually, I miss working, so I'm looking for work again. But
But
I
just made me think of another question, actually, which are there any skills you have that you'd like to be able to do in verticals?
um yeah, I mean, I'm a musician. I sing and I play instruments, so I think if there was room for a new genre in verticals, it only makes sense that it should be something a little bit more musical. Um, I would love to see what that format would look like if something that followed, like something akin to what Victorious was in the early 2000s, but in a
Yeah.
vertical format, I think would be a lot of fun. Um, and I can dance. I can do the splits. I don't know. There's so many things to do still with this
Yeah.
genre. So,
I think the musical one needs to happen because I get these I do these interviews and I get things back from the creatives, and there's quite a lot of people who've said they want to do musicals. So yeah, I think we need to push for that as campaign. Musical verticals needs to happen.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. That'll be
Yeah.
2026. I see it.
Okay. And that's it. So thank you again so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you doing this.
Of course, thank you so much for having me, and thank you again for organizing these awards. I'm sure it's like a lot for one person to do, and it's just you've cultivated so much excitement in the vertical fandom itself that I hope that you're really proud of what you're doing because
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited. So yeah, thank you.